What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Hot Takes, the season finale. I'm Max McKinney.
And I'm Jacob Jarvis.
And we got some special guests in here today. First of all, we have our MLB analyst, Mr. Rocky Han. How you doing, Noah?
Excellent. How are you guys?
So Noah, we're a ways into the MLB season, and what are your thoughts so far on the National League Central standings?
National League Central, I think there's honestly no question at this point the Cardinals are going to run away with it, in my opinion. You know, they had the Nolan Arenado trade. They got rid of some loose ends with Austin Gomber and some picks, but I think the Cardinals have found some consistency. Obviously, earlier in the season, in their earlier games, they couldn't find it really, but spring training is honestly not long enough for new teams coming in with a new superstar like Nolan Arenado. So, as a Cardinals fan, I might be a little biased. But then again, the numbers don't lie. I mean, they're tied for the best record in the National League and in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, with some of this competition, honestly, it looks kind of weak. You know, you got the Reds, the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Pirates. I think they're taking the NL Central easy, and they might have the best National League record by the end of the day.
Really? What do you think about the Cardinals pitching staff?
Cardinals pitching staff, starters here and there. We got Quang.
Flaherty.
Yeah, Flaherty, Nicolas Quang. And it's all right. It's subpar.
What roster moves do you think that you could see the Cardinals making?
Bullpen.
Really?
Especially in the especially in the postseason.
That's key.
The teams that win are the teams with the bullpens.
Mm-hmm.
You see the Astros a couple years back. You see the Dodgers. Obviously, they got stellar bullpens. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, we're a smaller market than the Dodgers. We can't just buy everybody in existence, but we're working our way up.
I think the Cardinals should make a move at the deadline for a starting pitcher, maybe a Danny Duffy or somebody like that, kind of that caliber. Maybe boost the rotation a little bit because Waino is almost 50 years old, just still pitching his heart out.
39.
Yeah, but he's almost there. But he's still doing really well for us, and you can't rely on old man Wainwright. He's getting older, so Flaherty's gonna have to step up, I believe.
And you mentioned the Dodgers. We're gonna kind of switch it over to the NL West. Right now, the Dodgers are third in the NL West, behind the Giants and the Padres. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a tough division, just in general. But usually the Dodgers are the top of that heat. You see the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers in that order. With the Dodgers' huge moves this summer, they got Mookie Betts, they got Trevor Bauer. That wasn't this summer that they got Mookie Betts, but they got Trevor Bauer, they got Max Muncy and Gavin Lux. They got guys, coming out their ears.
Mm-hmm. Every position, they're just loaded.
Exactly. There's no holes in this roster, and yet here they are, barely above 500, and a decent division. You see the bottom of the division is the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, but in my opinion, there's no reason
that the Dodgers should be
last.
Also, the Dodgers do have arguably the best manager in baseball, Dave Roberts.
Exactly.
So if I was the Cardinals, I'd kill to have somebody like that. But the Dodgers, they're not hot right now, but towards the middle, the end of the season, I think that's when they're going to glow up and
get it all together.
Ultimately take over the division.
And in a 162-game season, there is stints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's obviously stints. People are going to have their hot streaks and their cold streaks.
We're going to shift over to the American League now. What are your thoughts on the Los Angeles Angels?
LA Angels, they got Ohtani, and that's huge, but they're last in their division.
Mm-hmm.
With Mike Trout, arguably the best player in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Anthony Rendon at third.
Jared Walsh, a guy that's really grown on the scene lately.
Exactly, and Ohtani, a two-way rising star. He was, the first to 10 home runs?
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you ever think that they will get it together? They say every year, this will be the year that Mike Trout finally makes a postseason run. Do you think that this could be the year?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so because, you look at their pitching staff,
it's atrocious.
It's hashtag Garbo.
Yeah.
It's not good, and it hasn't been good until about the late 1990s.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think it'll take for Mike Trout to make a deep postseason run? You think it'll be extra players on the Angels, or do you think he's going to have to leave Los Angeles?
I think Ohtani was moving in the right direction because he's a good pitcher, and obviously there's highlights of him every single night, both in the field and pitching. But they just need. They have a lot of assets that I think they could use
in a trade
for pitching. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're kind of in the Cardinal spot. Their bullpen is all right. Something I didn't mention earlier was Alex Reyes has really stepped up for the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate to keep moving back and
Yeah.
forth, but I just, Alex Reyes, a young kid, he's really stepped up. And so, but back to the Angels. Once again, LA's a huge market.
They should be doing better in free
Us
agency.
as Cardinals fans, we would love to have as much money as the Angels would.
Yeah.
And to me, there's obviously, poor management is all it is.
Well, Noah, thank you for coming on here, man.
Man, it's been swell.
Thanks for showing up, buddy.
Hey, you know me, right?
Mr. Jonah Burgess.
Raining in.
How's it
How you
going?
doing? Yep.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
So, Jonah, as the NBA season is kind of winding down here, we kind of want to get your thoughts on some playoff and championship predictions. So, first of all, what team do you see making it out of the Eastern Conference?
Oh, I for sure see the Nets. Like the firepower they have, the capability to go on to the next level is just unreal. I mean, between Kevin Durant, arguably one of the best scorers of all time, and then you got James Harden, who's a great facilitator, and Kyrie Irving can score a bucket on anybody. And at that big man role, they're kind of lacking, but I think they're going to be able to make do with KD, almost a certified bucket on every single offensive.
What team do you see them maybe having some trouble with in the playoffs?
I definitely see them having some trouble with the 76ers because they really don't have that big man role to stop Embiid.
I don't agree. I just don't think the Sixers are a playoff championship team. Obviously, with Ben Simmons as the point guard, he's not a shooter, and you can't rely on him that much. I will say Joel Embiid's playing out his mind this year, but I don't think they're gonna be able to stop the Nets at all. So that's where their fate will end. Ending.
And the team I'm really surprised at the most this year is really the Knicks. Julius Randle's been really playing at an all-star caliber level, making tough shots. They got R.J. Barrett, who's still developing. They got a lot of young guys who are really showing true potential. I think we could see something this year out of the Knicks.
You think that they're the real deal? You think they can make a playoff run?
I think they can.
Really?
I don't think they can make it to the finals, but I think they can definitely win the first series.
I think if they had a KD or a Kyrie that they could have potentially signed in the offseason, they'd probably have a chance to win an NBA championship this year.
They need to
but
find that.
just, the Knicks before this year were not very good.
Yeah, building for the future.
Yeah.
Jacob, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Eastern Conference, who do you have making it out?
Nets.
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 Similar to what, or the exact same?
Yeah, Nets. You don't even have to worry about. You can just pencil them in. If I had to place a bet, I'd put all my money on the Nets. That's how sure I am that they're going to win.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit different than both of you. I think the Nets are a really talented team, but I don't know if they could put it all together in the playoffs. It's a lot of personalities, and I don't know how well they're going to be able to put it together in the big game. I have the Bucks. Giannis is becoming a lot more experienced in the playoffs, and I don't know if there's anybody on the Nets that'll be able to stop him. What big man do they have that could stop a force like Giannis? I don't think they have any. They picked up Drew Holiday off of the Pelicans, and he really just adds to the offense on that team. So I have the Bucks making it out of the East. I have the Nets meeting them in the Eastern Conference Finals, however.
Yeah.
Jonah, in the Western Conference, who do you have making it out?
In the Western Conference, I got the LA Clippers making it out of the Western Conference.
Really?
They got a lot of veteran players, a lot of potential. I think that Paul George is really going to prove a lot of people wrong this year in the playoffs after his pitiful, awful, disgraceful performance he made last year. I think Kawhi Leonard's really going to start playing well as he's taken about half the season off for breaks. And then they just got a lot of key pieces. I think the Jazz and Suns are good teams, but after what I saw after the Warriors dismantling them with about 8 guys each, without Steph Curry even playing good, I really think the Clippers are the number 1 team in the West. I'd like to say the Nuggets, but without Jamal Murray, I don't think they can get it done.
Jacob, what about you?
I don't like saying this, but I think the Lakers. It's going to be Nets-Lakers. I mean, the Lakers haven't been – they just got LeBron back, and he's not completely healthy, and AD's still not completely healthy back. But, I mean, once those two are back together playing, there's nobody that can stop LeBron James. LeBron James, I forgot how old he is, like 36, 37. He's still the best player in the NBA. So, I mean, nobody's going to be able to stop him. It's going to be a rough road, no doubt about it.
Possibly playing in the play-in tournament as well.
Play-in tournament, they're going to have to go through that. But, I mean, LeBron James is one of the best players of all time. So, I mean, this is nothing he can't handle.
For my Western Conference prediction, there's a lot of teams in the West that I could see making it out. I love the Warriors team that they have going right now, but I just don't know how far they can make it. I also am a huge fan of that Nuggets team as well. Jokic's playing out of his mind this year, but I think it's going to be the Lakers as well, making it out of the West. I think it's going to be a Lakers-Bucks final. And I have the Bucks actually winning it. I think Giannis has something to prove this year, and I think the Bucks are going to win the NBA championship. What about you, Jonah?
No, I like the Bucks. I like Acumpo, but I just don't see the playoff performance that I know we can have. I just don't see that in him this year.
I agree. I haven't seen Giannis be the MVP caliber he is on the regular season as he could be in the playoffs.
I think this is a year he clicks.
He can't shoot from outside in the playoffs. There's no such thing as one man carrying a team unless it's LeBron James, and we won't see another LeBron James for maybe another 20 more years.
So, Jonah, you had Nets Clippers in the NBA Finals meeting each other. Who do you have
Yes.
winning that?
Nets Clippers. I don't really have a for sure team. I know it's going to be a 7-game series. I think the Nets will pull it out.
You think so?
I think so. I think with the chemistry that Kyrie, Harden, and KD already have, they're not going to argue for who takes that last final shot. They're just going to give it to KD, I think.
You think so?
I think so.
Jacob, what about you? You have Nets Lakers in the finals. Who do you have winning it?
I got the Nets in 6.
Nets in 6.
Nets in 6.
Okay. We got some hot takes here on Hot Takes today. I have the Bucks winning the finals in 7 against the Lakers. So, thank you, Jonah, for coming in and talking about basketball.
Preach. Deuces.
Well, everybody, it's been an amazing run as the co-host of Hot Takes for this year. It's been a blessing to be able to give you guys our hot takes. Jacob, you have anything?
Just thank you all for watching, and hopefully this carries on to next year as we pass on the hot takes.
Absolutely. So, one last time, I've been Max McKinney.
I'm Xavier Jarvis.
Good morning, good evening, and good night.